Welcome to Olaron's Palace of Healing. Inside here, all are welcome. Like, share, subscribe, hit your notification buttons. Come in, stay for a while. Maybe you'll find something here that can help you through whatever it is you're going through. It's all about healing up in here. So tune in. And if you'd like to get a reading with me, check the information below. And once again, thanks for tuning in. Welcome everybody to Olaron's Palace of Healing. You get these headphones on and make sure I can hear myself. All right, am I here? Yes, I am. Like, share, subscribe, talk about it with your friends. Maybe this will help you or somebody you know. But today I wanted to talk about the dark night of the soul and what that actually means. So, growing up, I always read comic books and like superheroes and movies and things of that nature. The one thing that they have in common is this: tragedy. If you look at Superman, for instance, he would not have gotten his powers unless his whole world was destroyed and he was sent to another planet and followed that path. Then he grew up in an unfamiliar place. The sun fed him his strength, and he gained superpowers above all the other mere mortals. You look at Batman. Batman's Dark Knight of the Soul, and he's actually the Dark Knight, was leaving a movie, The Mask of Zorro, with his family, watching them get gunned down in the alley over being mugged, some pearls, something like that, watching both of his parents go down and being left there in his tears by himself. Only person to care for him was his butler, who became his surrogate father. But you look at the lens of how he utilized his pain. He made his brain sharper. He worked in his skills. He heightened his physical attributes. He made himself a complete warrior, complete fighter, but also a detective mentally. And although he has no superpowers, he fulfills his utmost human potential. It's just tough for a lot of us. Another one I like to think about is The $6 Million Man. Grew up watching that show. It was phenomenal. And at the beginning, you see Lee Majors in there, and he's in a race car or something like that. I can't remember. But there's an explosion, and they have to replace some body parts. So he gets a new arm, a new leg, new eye, some other parts. And although he's cybernetically enhanced after that, he has more abilities than the average mortal being, because he has those cybernetic implants, which help him achieve whatever he needs to do. Had that never happened and he never had that accident, he would have never been a $6 million man. He wouldn't have been able to leap 30 feet in the air, crush steel with his bare hands, see far away with the cybernetic eye, and look through objects, things of that nature. So he gained abilities because of tragedy. There's so many other examples of that. If you look at just any superhero that come out, it's always tragedy. Same with the supervillain. Supervillains formed by tragedy. You look at the Joker, abused, not thought of, cast out, mental issues, lost his mind, and with no one to help him, he decided to go the other way. He went to the dark side. Whole lot of other supervillains like that. Something tragic happens, and instead they decide they want revenge. They want to go to the lower vibrational side instead of being the hero. So we all have different choices in how we face the dark night of the soul. But the dark night of the soul is more of when you're in that tragedy, when you've lost that loved one, when you've lost that relationship that you thought meant everything to you, when you lost a child, when you're the absolute pit of grief and there's no one around you. You call your friends, but they can't seem to be bothered with you. They want to be around you because you're depressed. And you can't get angry and blame them for that. It's just some of them have barely come out of their own. And they're holding on by a string. So having to deal with your depression and your grief and your dark night of the soul on top of their own life. Although we want to get angry with them for not being there, that's also selfish. And it's okay to feel that way. We're human beings. We're meant to have those feelings, especially when you're in the darkest period of your life. But it's kind of like you have to change how you view that period. Sometimes it's the divine is trying to redirect you towards a higher purpose or a different purpose. Maybe all of this BS, all of this pain, all of this grief that you went through was meant to enhance your being for your higher purpose so that you can get out there and help other people that have been or are where you have been. And once we step into that, that's when that abundance flows from within. You're not really by yourself. It just feels that way. It feels like people don't understand. But what is happening is you're being awakened. The divine is trying to upgrade you. So in that way, you have two different choices. Some people come out of the dark night of the soul with a deeper understanding of everything that they've been through. They've learned to process that old grief, the old wounds, the things from childhood. Some people don't go through the dark night of the soul that well. Some people don't survive. That's why you see people get depressed to the point where they take themselves out of this race of life. The dark night of the soul got to be too much. Some of you are fortunate to have at least one or two friends that have your back while you're going through the dark night of your soul. Some people have no one. But if you manage to heal inside of that environment, you are a bad mother. Just for real though. If you were able to sit by yourself, knowing that your friends abandoned you, or even just feeling that way. They may not have. They just had their own life stuff happening. But feeling like your family abandoned you, your friends abandoned you, and there's no one there but you and the divine. It's a tough spot. But it's a necessary place. But how long you stay in the dark night of the soul, that's an individual decision. And you can learn the lessons and come up out of it, or you can try to mask it and act like it's not happening. You could drink yourself away, distract yourself with tons of women, tons of men, get on the apps, work yourself to the bone, work 2-3 jobs, just so you don't have to think about yourself, think about what you're going through. You can do all of these distractions, but at some point, the longer you tamp it down, the more it's going to come out when it comes out. Now that dark night of the soul, man, it's painful. It'll literally have you crying a way you never knew you could cry. You'll be howling deep from inside of your soul. That's a painful place. Nobody sees it. I know during my dark night of the soul, I ended up in the hospital. I cried for 3-4 days straight. Couldn't sleep at all. Felt like I was just losing my mind. And my blood pressure was in heart attack, stroke level range. And I just couldn't calm down. And I went to the hospital, stayed for a couple nights, I think, night or two, I can't remember. They sedated me. And, imagine looking at your doctor and telling them, man, I cried myself into this. And then they start, recommending therapy and prescribe me some antidepressants, which they worked for like a week or two. And I felt like a zombie. Wasn't like myself. Felt like I just wasn't even just there. So I cut those pills out. And it was like after that point, I knew I had to do something different or I would die. And a part of me was almost trying to wish myself to death. But the divine has other plans, other purposes. So, when you come out of that, it's choice. For me, the first thing I started to do was going back to the gym. Some of y'all, maybe you start walking, you start a new workout regimen. But you have to show you that you love yourself. And that's like the first step. So you start doing those self-care things. Pamper yourself a little bit. Take yourself to the gym. Start eating better. Start showing the divine that you care about you. And the more that you do that, the more you'll see how your circumstances change, your abundance changes, your mindset changes. And this is not to say that you won't ever have a bad day again, because you will. It's the human existence. We're going to have bad days. You have days of sadness, days of tears, days of joy, days of happiness. We have all of these days. It's a part of this experience. It's all in how you control that. Some of you still need to go heal that inner child. So when you're breaking out in tears and you don't know why, think back to what happened to you. Talk to it. Talk to him. Talk to her. Talk to that kid. From your standpoint today. If you could tell that kid what you know today, tell him. Tell them it's not their fault. Heal those wounds. That being said, if you would like to seek me out for a reading, I am available on Facebook or Lauren's Palace. My name is Lauren Kelly. I want to thank you for tuning in. I'm going to come to you guys with some more. But yeah, the Dark Night of the Soul is just such a doozy. And if you don't know what's happening to you, you'd be confused and in pain. And I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I want to just try to give you some cheat codes. Like back when we had those video games. You always had a manual that had a cheat code for every game for the Nintendo. So you could plug in your code for Contra, you could plug in your code for Zelda or whatever and get the extra lives. So I'm here to just try to give you some life. So I hope it helps. I love y'all. One love. Peace, blessings, and ashe.